one of the big storylines right now is the Nord Stream 2 pipeline explosion. Slash Nord Stream 1. Okay, hold on one second. Because hold on. Mm-hmm. Whoops, hold on. Let me see if I can bring up. Yeah. Okay, so the attack on Nord Stream 2. Please show Jimmy Dore's take. Oh, yes, James. Look at you already jumping ahead. There's a fight going on in Tanky Land about this particular thing because this is Jimmy's take. Jimmy, no, Russia didn't blow up their own pipeline. Like I guess he got the direct message. He got a DM. He got a telegram message from Putin himself. First of all, yes, they fucking well did. Nord Stream 2 is dead. It's been dead. It was a collaboration. The funds to make it came from Russia and from Germany. Germany is turning away from Russian oil and gas. Russia's not going to restart that fucking thing. They don't plan on stopping their attack on Ukraine anytime soon, so there's no chance that it's going to be a bargaining chip. They have no intention. They never had any intention of doing it. It's fucking absurd. And since Biden last year made it so that American insurance companies can't cover it as part of the sanctions, if something happens to it, they just got to fix it with cash. And they don't have any, so they just decided it has more strategic use. And so and my opinion is they're saying there were Russian boats in the area. There's all kinds of boats in the area. I think they sent a pig down there. That's what I think. I think it was done with a pig. A pig, you say? How? What's a pig? Let me show you what a pig is. Not that kind of pig. Simmer down. Pig is, of course, a movie starring Nicolas Cage, but that was not a bomb, so it would not have worked. It was a cult hit. For the record. Let's see. I'll show you. And yeah, I love that it's called pigging. Literally, not to be confused with pegging, which is something that this guy does to Jimmy. All right. So here you go. Here's a scraper pig. This is a good, hold on. Let me just use the images. Wait a second. Okay. There you go. So, in cleaning and maintenance of pipelines, they have these pipeline, what are they called? Like pipeline inspection gauges or gadgets, and or pipeline integrity gadgets, or there's a bunch of different versions of pigs. Okay, they just look like a bunch of sex toys, but the purpose of these things is to clean and check the sort of the safety of the pipeline to make sure that it's maintained. Holy crap, it's HAL. Does HAL stand for high as low? Right, yeah. So these things are sent through these pipelines all the fucking time. They have robot versions of them. There's ones that go on a chain, or get pressured down into there, or get pushed in and pulled out at certain where they detach them on land. And then there's the robot versions of them that have like rollers on them and propulsion, and they basically go through and they got sensors and they check the pressure and they clean the pipe. Smart pigs. There you go. And essentially attaching a bomb to one of these things with a timer, a pressure gauge, or a radio device to blow the fucking thing up would not be difficult at all. And as a matter of fact, it was interestingly enough, I have a place in my heart for every James Bond. I appreciate everything all of them brought to me. I don't have a favorite one. I don't need a fucking favorite one. Do you understand? I don't need James Bond to be one of those particular guys. I can be happy that all of them brought something cool and it was fun to watch them do their thing. Do you understand how this shit works? It's art. There are no firsts and lasts. There's only what you like. That's how art works. I don't need, there's no list of the, top 3. It doesn't work that way. So let me, hold on. Let me show you something else. Let's see. I think it's this one. Yeah. So it has been, this storyline has been in several Bond films. And let me show you. Several times. There's this one's in, yeah, that's Roger Moore, I think. License to Pig. They end up in a lot of these things, but The World Is Not Enough is one of my favorites. I love the soundtrack. I have an undying crush on Sophie Marceau. It shall never pass. It will just always be there. Get used to the idea. Suck it up. And there's a big scene in The World Is Not Enough where he's in one of these cleaning rigs in this fucking thing. Let's see if it, I don't want to get a copyright strike on this fucking thing, but hold on, quit it. So they go down there, they get in the thing, they're in this little thing, it's riding along, they're trying to stop it, there's bombing thing, and they got there's literally a bomb on the pig rolling through the fucking pipeline, and they get at this junction, it comes up, and then they blow it up, and they let it blow, they escape, then they go out a hatch, and then they let it blow, and everybody thinks they're dead. And that's I mean, that's not even fucking new. That's I love that movie. It's great. You can't kill me, James. You'll miss me. I never miss. I mean, it's awesome. And she's ridiculously sexy. So, and very talented and lovely. It's just ridiculous. Okay, so, not even a new idea, by the way. Not the first time it's been done. So, and there's been a whole lot of shenanigans around these pipelines already. Let me show you something a little. Okay, this is 2 months ago. Germany accuses Russia of power play as gas pipeline supply drops by half. The capacity for Nord Stream 1 dropped to 20% 2 months ago. Nord Stream 2 is not and has not been supplying oil and supplying gas to Europe. It doesn't. It's not. It's not functioning. It's full of gas, and it's just staying that way. Nothing's coming out the other end. So, the idea that there's any kind of intricacy to the supply going to Europe via Nord Stream now, because Germany and them are never going to take gas from that pipeline. They're going to get what little they need from Nord Stream 1. They're almost full up with their reserves for the winter. They won't need any more, and the transition will happen over the next spring and summer. They don't need it ever again. We are at peak oil and gas. Sorry, fuck you, goodbye. And anybody who is talking about this thing, I just want to hear, there's a couple of takes on these assholes talking about this, not the least of which is Laura Ingraham has Glenn Greenwald on, asks if Russia would sabotage its own pipeline. He asks in this. I'm curious to see if he actually blows it for Jimmy here. But I want to hear Jimmy's take on this nonsense.
April Becker ay banta sa ating mga karapatan. Sinuportahan niya ang overturning ng Roe v. Wade at inalis ang ating karapatan for abortion without exceptions for rape, incest, or to save her life. April Becker is too extreme at banta sa mga kababaihan ng Nevada.
Boy, that's a specific
Joe Biden warned that he was going to blow up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline.
No, he didn't. He said they can stop the pipeline. He didn't say he was going to blow it up. We don't have to fucking blow it up. He meant pressure on Germany. This has been floating around. This is the right-wing clip. It shouldn't be any surprise that Cowboy Jimmy, what is it with Jimmy and Glenn Beck both wearing clothes from their childhood? Honest to God, it's like they both, their idea of heaven is a wood post bed in an old attic bedroom with surrounded by a rocking horse and cowboy wallpaper.
Want to hear him say it? What happened? Come on.
Yeah, let's hear him say he's going to blow up Nord Stream.
Let me answer the first question first. If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
So he said he's going to.
Yeah, and they already had. It's already done. Hold on. You don't have to blow it up, fuckhead. It's not going anywhere. Hold on. Let's see. Germany, Nord Stream, stopped. U.S., whatever. Fucking months ago. February. The Germans were the co-sponsors of this fucking project. Germany freezes Nord Stream 2 gas project as Ukraine crisis deepens. Hitherto reluctant Germany halts certification process. Pipeline has been set to help ease energy crisis. Benchmark gas price jumps. Ukraine says Germany is showing moral leadership. Russia's Medvedev says welcome to $2,000, 2,000 euro gas. By the way, we'll get to that in a second too. It was never going to open. It was already corroding. It was just holding gas since fucking February. You couldn't insure it. Oh, God. And again, no one's surprised that this asshole has like the crayon take on this whole thing.
And the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is the pipeline that was being built to take gas from Russia and bring it to Germany. So.
Well, until Germany and the U.S. and the European Union and Ukraine stopped it because of what Russia did. I'd like to remind you that what stopped Nord Stream was the first part of what Biden said, which is Russia crossing the border with tanks.
He just said that they're going to blow that thing up. He didn't.
No, he didn't
say the word blow it up.
Right.
He said we're going to stop the the gas going through it.
How will you do that?
How will you do it?
Exactly. Since the project and control of the project is within Germany's control.
We will, I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
Well, how did they do it? They did it. Here's how they did it.
Again, no, that's not how they did it. It just because it's done doesn't mean the United States did it. I don't know. And now I know that goes against everything that Jimmy believes.
What do you think Germany is going to tell us no versus they were blowing your thing up?
Hey, we're going to blow up your gas pipeline. You got no choice. Nord Stream.
They're not using the gas in it anymore, dummy.
So this is how they're referring to it in newspapers and stuff. They're saying
in newspapers and stuff like Al Jazeera, newspapers.
They're calling it a pipeline leak.
Into the ocean?
Well, they were on the 27th.
What?
Because it had just happened. They didn't get the seismic information about the explosion till after that. Al Jazeera is not lying. Al Jazeera is reporting on the gas venting in the Baltic Sea.
It is into the ocean?
It's on the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, so it's being shot into the... Oh,
so,
great.
Yeah.
Great.
So, a series of unusual leaks in two gas pipes. Really? It's unusual. This leak is unusual.
No, it isn't. The only thing unusual about them is the size. There you go. Nord Stream 2 pipeline pressure collapses mysteriously overnight. Authorities in Germany are trying to establish what caused a sudden drop in pressure in the defunct Nord Stream 2, and defunct, by the way. There you go. This is Monday. This is the day before that other story. Defunct Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline, with a spokesman for its operator saying it could have been a leak. The pipeline has been one of the flashpoints in an escalating energy war. The Russia-owned pipeline, which was intended to double the volume of gas flowing from Vyborg. This is fun, too. Hold on. Let me make this a little bigger so I can show you guys this. This is from The Guardian, but the stats they put up are the important part. Let's... where is it down here? Here you go. So, the suspected leak did not have an immediate impact on gas trading amid the signs that Vladimir Putin's efforts to disrupt energy supplies in Europe this winter will be thwarted. Russia has cut off gas supplies to several countries and halted flows through Nord Stream 1 pipeline under the Baltic Sea, accusing Western sanctions of hindering operations. The price for British wholesale gas for delivery this weekend dropped nearly 24% to 160p a therm on Monday, with the price of delivery on Tuesday down 17% at 190p a therm. The one way you could jack the price up is to limit supply. They've got other pipelines. So if you ruin this one, then there's less flowing and you might be able to force people going someplace else if it was the Nord Stream 1. It's the Nord Stream 2, which is hooked up to fucking nothing. How many are leaking in the U.S.? Not very many, quite frankly. It's the venting that's the issue. We don't capture as much as comes out. Like we've talked about the venting before and the flaring that you have to do to get rid of it. There's only a limited amount in this pipeline anyways. Once it's out, in theory, unless the Russians just leave the fucking tap open, which makes no fucking sense. But it's a long pipeline, so there's plenty of gas pressurized in there that will bubble for a day or two and then be gone. About pressure, maybe it was just a blowout. There's a very strong chance that this doesn't have to be an explosion. It could. The timing is fail rates. So one of the things that's also not a factor that most people aren't thinking about in this terms of like the damage, and they'll know when they go down there. They're going to send a sub down there to look at it, and the question will be: did it blow in or did it blow out? Is the wound in the thing? Is the explosion have around the edges of it? You'll be able to see whether it was struck by something or whether it blew up from the inside. My theory: they're gonna see it blowing open this way. That's my theory, and it's because there's one of two things. They blew it up on purpose as an escalation in the same way that they tried to do these Donetsk and Luhansk, referendums, and those failed. Nobody's buying it. Nobody's saying yes, that's Russian land and all that kind of shit. And then in terms of this is just another attempt to they attacked us. And by attacking themselves, it's just silly. And the problem is the way that they're doing is so ham-handed. If it wasn't just a massive failure, because then again, you have this pipeline sitting idle, no service going to it. Most of the people that have been working on it have been in this fucking thing for 6 months, 7 months, and 6 months might just be the fucking fail rate on this thing if you don't maintain it. But if we'll see where he takes it, because his whole thing is this is going to be as sarcastic, like because the United States or Ukraine or the UK or fucking Denmark are denying it, that must mean we're guilty.
What's sad that it's probably not. They leak like nonstop all the time everywhere.
Yes. So here, I like what Jim Richards says. He says, I don't know who blew up the Nord Stream pipelines. Both of them.
Two separate sections of the same thing.
I do know that when solving a mystery, you look for motives. Russia has none.
They have many. They have a backed up, dead pipeline that is building up pressure back on their end. And they are either going to have to vent and flare that gas out, because the Germans aren't going to do it, on the mainland, or you just pop the fucking thing in the sea and let it vent out into the water, because it's in international waters. It's not your fucking responsibility, and it's not insured anyways, and you're not going to use it, so you just vent it there. It makes total sense. Just on a practical fucking sense, this makes it's totally logical. Because that gas has got to go somewhere. You have a highly pressurized gas container that is hundreds of miles long. And it opens on two ends. One's in your country, and the other is in Germany. And Germany has not completed the tail of it. So they shut the whole fucking thing down. So the pipe doesn't go up into Germany. It's basically capped at sea level, but it's in their territorial waters. So you can't just blow the cap off on their end and go, fuck you, Germany, and use it as a flamethrower. And the only other option, if you want to start relieving the pressure out of this thing so it doesn't blow your fucking refinery to pieces, is to blow a hole in it in the middle. Just a practical, shitty, anti-environment, standard Russian dipshit thing to do. The other reason is because Gulf of Tonkin, anyone? Reichstag fire? How come every fucking thing is a CIA false flag, but the Russians are incapable of it. Get the fuck out of here.
They can turn off the gas when they want. They can.
No, they can't. Even if they turn the fucking gas off, it's still in the fucking pipe, and it comes back this way.
Stop the gas. They didn't need to blow up their own gas pipeline. So that's why this doesn't make any.
Jimmy, where does the gas come from? Where does it come from? Where does the gas come from before it goes to the place that goes in the gas hole that goes into the Nord Stream thing that comes from the thing? Where does it come from?
Any sense when people are blaming Russia for doing this? Of course, they're just repeating propaganda coming directly from the State Department and Joe Biden and NATO.
Yes, all the people I actually trust and who aren't sending fucking rape squads into towns they know they're gonna lose just to traumatize people. Get the fuck out of here.
Russia did it?
Yeah.
Yes, they do, Kurt, because they did do it. Now, in all fairness, what you're looking at right now is a very confused man. A man incapable of forming cohesive thought out of the words that are entering his ear holes right now. This is it. You know that scene in Snatch where he talks about pulling a stupid face, but the pikey didn't pull a stupid face because he had plans to run the car over. Right. He's pulling a stupid face. He didn't see this coming at all.
Yes. Yeah.
How would that make any sense?
Like there's a fucking half dozen. They can escalate and say they were attacked. They can vent the gas into the sea instead of away from prime infrastructure. They have to, that refinery, that pumping station that sends it that way ain't going to be sending anything that way ever again. Once the Europe weans itself off this winter, and they're already there. Let me show hold on. Let me see if I can find the European gas reserves chart. Hold on. European gas reserves. Images. Stupid do. Let's see if we go back. Okay. There you go. Here's why. 88.2% of the European Union's gas storage is filled. The European Union is already at the point where they no longer need any of the gas coming from Europe. I mean, from Russia. They don't need any of it. Europe doesn't need it anymore. Would they like to top it off at 100%? Sure. Would they probably have to vent it once it hits 95%? Because it's not exactly like everybody has a prime-timed, there's no calculation precisely for all the tanks at all topped off pressure for everything in absolute. When it comes to gas pressure like this, there's a little wiggle room, country to country, nation to fucking nation. They've got enough gas to get through the winter. They're going to be fine. Here's the European Union's reliance on so this is the calendar from January coming around to December. This is our date right now. They're 88% on this one right here. Here's where they were when the war started. They were at about whatever this point is. I don't think they allow. Yeah, so the 24th, they had about 30% reserves right here. Right about the time the war broke out. There you go. Right about the time the attack happened. And then they went, oh, fuck. And there was a leveling out. And they're like, we remember all the arguments about how we're going to deal with gas and didn't really start up. How long is this going to take? Is this really going to last? They started using their reserves rather than take from Russia at that point. And then they were like, okay, we need a strategy to get through the winter because this is going to come for a long time. And then they started filling their tanks, man. And over the course of the year, the amount of reserves they have filled out to the point where they're at 88% right now. By the time winter comes around, and it's starting in some places already, they can start using some of those reserves, and the rest of it will be backed up by LNG supplies coming later from the United States and Qatar and other sources. The U.S. has no motivation to blow up the fucking Nord Stream. It's meaningless. It's useless. It's dead. The facility that pumps to it in Russia is worthless. They built this entire fucking thing as a pumping station on the end of Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2, and nobody's going to fucking use them again unless somebody snuffs Putin and the whole thing changes in an afternoon, which isn't going to happen. Because Russia's not going to back down. They're not leaving anytime soon. They want the whole fucking country. They're all lunatics. This is fucking crazy. So Europe's been just packing it in, like, all right, we'll buy cheap gas till we fill up to here. And then once we get within, once they got over 80%, they're good because they still have more than 20% of their reserve needs coming from the United States and from Qatar. And then they'll eventually, they'll be opening up natural gas lines in the Black Sea off of Odessa once they clear the mines out and that kind of shit. There's that, like, what kind of graph is that? This is it's a circular calendar. Think of it as you're looking down on it spiraling out. So at the beginning of the year, it's here January 1st. They would build some up because they used it all. They burned through all of it, and then there were no reserves essentially. There were around, but they didn't start really measuring it for these purposes. And then as the year clicks by, as we go January, February, March, April, May, June, right about here they got fucking serious. And then June, July, August, you see the amount going up over time. It's a crazy chart. I like them. But that's how they chart out a bunch of these things. You can look at, they have each country in one of these kind of charts. It's really fucking fascinating. But this is why you can blow the fucking thing up. We don't care. Europe doesn't care. America doesn't care. What? Again, why would the U.S. blow up the pipeline since it is the European Union has already decided they don't fucking trust Russia anyways. Even if Russia came up tomorrow and said, we're good guys again, they're going to switch to renewables, move away from this, open coal firing plants until they get their nuclear back online, and then they're going to switch to natural gas services from other places until the Ukrainian gas fields can get on their feet, and then that's fucking that. Nobody's going back. Yeah, this chart's easier to understand. But if you'll see here, this is the face of a man incapable of thinking past the ratio of French fries to ketchup in his fucking cardboard dish.
The U.S. has plenty. So Russia has none. They have no motives for doing this. They can.
Now they have lots of motives, not the least of which is that they can use it as an excuse. They blew up one of their own bases internally in their country because they couldn't move any of the ammo and stuff from there, so they blew it up and then tried to blame it on the Ukrainians. And the Ukrainians were like, "We didn't do that. That's where the smoking joke came from everywhere." But then again, they are fairly opaque, so it's hard to tell if how bad their fuck ups are.
Turn off the gas anytime they want.
The gas is already turned off. They throttled the Nord Stream 1 down to 20%. The European Union says we're not getting any more for it. They're turning it off on their end by the end of the year. They've already said they've got plenty and they're going to be fine. They might even be able to do it by November.
And the U.S. has plenty of motives. They
like what?
Can blame Putin. They can escalate the war.
Why do we have to escalate the war? First of all, blaming Putin is not our motive. We're not short of shit to hate Putin for. He's a fucking monster. Nobody is thinking, well, the Chechen rape squads are one thing, and of course rigging dead bodies with grenades and sending 65-year-old men into fucking battle with wooden guns to get their fucking faces blown off, and of course starving entire city blocks and that kind of stuff. But once you blow up a pipeline that no one's using, that's the last straw. Get the fuck out of here. Blame Putin. Finally, we get to blame Putin, guys. It's just what we... Operation Blame Putin is on. It's a go. Fucking do like speedboats flying out of the back of giant yachts just with gunships on them and stuff. And like, we can blame him for something. Get the fuck out of here. Blame Putin. Escalate the war. We don't have to escalate the war. We don't. There's already an escalation. The Ukrainians are on the counteroffensive and they're doing fine. How would this escalate the war at all? That's the other thing. Like, based on fucking what? Look at the third one, though. Look at the third one. Watch Jimmy go off on this one. Look at this right here. Advance green agenda. Make EU dependent, go from there. All right. So, total right-winger. This is like, a little bit of like, it couldn't help but like jack off some climate denial in there.
They can advance their green agenda.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I thought you were supposed to be like a super lefty. You're not for the quote green agenda? I don't understand that at all. Now you're on the side of big oil and gas? Why is he not stopped? Why does he go, well, green agenda? I mean, I wouldn't go there, but blah, 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 blah. Make EU dependent, probably they're trying to do, like, why would you just take all of them? He just, like, gargling this dude's cum. It's amazing.
They can make the European Union dependent.
On what? On Qatari fucking natural gas? Dore. Oh, squirt, squirt, squirt. This is just like a bukkake of idiocy all over Jimmy's face. I don't get this.
On American energy.
On American energy. Dude, we don't need to LNG shit and ship it across the sea. It's a waste of fucking time. We don't need that fucking market. We don't. This is not the time where you're like, oh, fucking sweet, bro. Fucking sweet, bro. We got all this natural gas. We'll make Europe dependent on us. Motherfucker, they're already going to be because Russia attacked. They're not buying it from just that. They're going to be dependent, if anything, on Black Sea, Ukrainian and Moldovan and maybe Turkish natural gas. They don't. Why the fuck would we LNG shit across the sea? It's a waste of resources. It would set our climate goals back. How can you advance the green agenda while setting up an unnecessarily carbon heavy process in natural gas? Like, this is so fucking... Can you just tell me you don't know fucking shit about anything? Does this asshole read?
No, I'm going to withhold.
Look at him smiling like, who on our energy, because it's all about always like this is part of our big, he's in the trap, gentlemen. We tricked Putin into attacking Ukraine so we could sell liquefied natural gas in a really clunky form so that we can send military hardware to defend Ukraine so it finally gets its own freedom, reclaims Crimea, and then has a lock on natural gas in the fucking area. We're giving it to Ukraine, if anything else. LNG Across the Sea is the new Gordon Lightfoot album. I can't wait to hear it.
Judgment. I want to hear Bosch's take on it first.
It's actually too wild how blatant the U.S. was with this one. Both Sweden and Germany are like, oh, yeah, so a certain someone definitely sabotaged this, and everyone's got to act like they don't know who.
Russia. It's their fucking pipeline. And again, a pig dragging a fucking bomb. It's easy. You don't even have to send ships into the area.
Caitlin Johnstone says
Oh, Caitlin Johnstone. Oh, really? Hold on. Let's see. Let me see if I can find. I'm not familiar with John. Let's see. Let's see if I can find this one. This is a good one. I need to hold on. Give me a second. I'm finding it. Hold on. Oh, I need a picture because somebody took a picture of it. Hold on. Let's see if I can. Hold on one second. There's gonna. I figured. Oh, I misspelled her name. Okay, hold on. Caitlin Johnson. Yeah, here it is. This is her. This is February 18th. I want you to promise, whoever she was responding to and a flame war online, I want you to promise me you'll completely revise your worldview and drastically change your media consumption habits when March gets here and the invasion still hasn't happened. You seem to be under the impression that Ukraine has any chance of stopping Putin from taking Kiev. You can only believe that if you're living in a self-reinforcing echo chamber. Putin has made no real attempt 9 hours later to take Kiev. He is, however, taking larger and larger swaths of the eastern part of the country. This moron has been so fucking wrong on everything. And Jimmy references it's like his Mary Magdalene.
West has blamed Russia for bad presidents, for Western racism.
The West has blamed Russia for bad presidents. You mean Trump? Okay. She's not saying Trump because she didn't want to anger those folks. I guess Western racism. I don't know why. Have we blamed Russia for like Derek Chauvin or something? For Western political divisions, that's the same thing for the bad presidents thing. For inflation, that's because of gas prices. For much every bad thing Western power structures are responsible for, but blaming Russia for attacks on Russian pipelines is probably going to take the cake. Oh yeah, it's probably not even. It probably didn't even happen. Probably didn't. Probably. I mean, promise me you'll change your media consumption habits and your worldview when the pipeline was never actually attacked, when it just blew up because it was shitty construction.
For Western political divisions, for inflation.
Does this guy just read? Is that what Jimmy's job is now, is to read other people's tweets who are as misinformed or as big a prick as he is and go, ha? Is that the gig? Is that the sweet fucking money? But I mean, bought him a $2 million house, right?
Pretty much every bad thing Western power structures are responsible for. But blaming Russia for attacks on Russia's pipelines is probably going to take the cake.
And I think Russia took the cake also.
And they did. They bombed the cake.
It's so good. Yeah, so great.
So, do you know who that's got? A member of European Parliament. He says, "Thank you, USA."
Well, you're welcome.
Hold on. Radek. That's Radek Sikorsky. Yep, chairman of the Bragatos, who was the one? Warsaw, Brussels. Hold on one second. This is the Lukashenko agreed to play. No. Undertake supply games. I'm trying to find that "Thank You USA" one. I'm scrolling through. Did he take it out? Yeah, I think it wasn't that long ago. Hold on. Yeah, September 13th. I think this fucker scrubbed it for a different one. By the way, this guy is pro-Ukraine, by the way, in his tweets. This whole "Thank You USA" at 9:38 on September 27th. Yeah, I don't actually see it. Hold on. So this is this guy's Twitter feed, unless this is something else. This is September 16th, 18th, 25th, 26th, 26th, 27th, 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 14 hours ago. There's one joke in here. News just in, he retweeted this guy Warren Dunn's thing. Intact Russian passport floating in bubbles. That seems to be like a 9/11 joke. Hard to see. Hold on. Say whatever. Yeah, see, there you go. What's happened to the interesting tweet by him, former Polish foreign minister, now Euro MP, married influencer. It seems to have been, yeah, so he deleted it. So they either told him to fuck off or he, he recognized it's not a good look. So yeah, that's a deleted tweet.
Sir,
That got 42,000 likes. Here's the German lawmakers break Europe's silence on suspected Nord Stream pipeline saboteur to point the finger at Russia. So this is how propaganda works. It doesn't.
Yes, this is how propaganda works. That's what you're doing, Jimmy. You're engaged in it. You're like, imagine a man sitting in front of pictures of the Reichstag going, does this look like a German fire to you? Look at those flames. Those are not German flames. These are not
matter how stupid it is. It doesn't matter how much it doesn't make sense. The United States.
Basically, and for the record, I would like to say all the reasoning I put forward on all fronts, from even the accidental part, is logical and makes sense. Much less the geostrategic and the war-related elements of this, and just the fact that Russia is in the business of fucking up its own shit for lols at this point. They could very well have just sent a bunch of drunk recruits down the tube. Either you go to Russia or you get in the fucking pipeline, Yuri. That kind of stuff.
States got convinced by a moron, George Bush, that a country that didn't have a missile that could reach us was a threat to us. And we had to invade them. That's how, doesn't matter how dumb it is. If the military-industrial complex wants it, it's happening.
Well, then why aren't we still in Afghanistan?
And so that's what this is.
No, that's not what this is. What are we going to do? Send in fucking SEAL teams? Now the military-industrial, they're going to send in robot underwater drones to constantly patrol all underwater cabling and shit like that. Just let it float. And they're going to make a big watch. There's going to be a bill in fucking Congress and added to a bill that has to pass, or a continuing resolution that has to pass, that pays for underwater drones just so they can make money. Like, motherfucker, they blew their shit up.
You don't think she's bought by the military-industrial complex? Of course she is.
Yeah, look at her. It's a woman, okay, in a position of power. You think she got there from fucking merit? I mean, honestly, it's just the MIC's just got their fucking hand up her ass, puppeting her around. Women can't run shit. And again, he could, if it wasn't for this article cut, which he doesn't, like, hold on. German lawmakers break silence. Hold on. Can we look at this fucking... Break your on suspected... This is Business Insider. German lawmakers break European silence on suspected Nord Stream pipeline saboteur to point the finger at Russia. Hold on. Get out of here. Bring this up. Why is this page not... There you go. Shrink down, stupid. All right. It's got to fit in this one thing. This is the article itself. Two senior German lawmakers have pointed the finger at Russia over suspected sabotage of the Nord Stream. The leaking Russia to Europe pipelines are spewing natural gas into the Baltic Sea. Two senior German lawmakers have pointed the finger at Russia over the suspected sabotage of the Nord Stream natural gas pipelines. Roderick Kiesewetter, a government spokesman for crisis prevention, said in a tweet late Tuesday, the attack was an act of sabotage by Russia to deter and threaten Europe. Mary Agnes Strack-Zimmermann, chairwoman of the Bundestag's Defense Committee, also named Russia in comments on the suspected attacks in the Redaction Network Deutschland news network. That doesn't make me feel nervous at all reading that. This is, European lawmakers previously left open the question about who the suspected Nord Stream saboteur would be. None have yet definitively blamed Russia, and Russia has denied it was the perpetrator. Sweden's Coast Guard released new footage of the Nord Stream leak. This is this right here. That's it. One giant prolonged cow fart. The longer, more brutal Russian attack on Ukraine lasts, the greater the risk of unrestrained attacks. It cannot be ruled out that they will be directed by Russia in order to shake our markets. Yeah. No, and by the way, in that article, there's two people cited. The first guy that's cited is a guy. First person cited is a man. He didn't bring that fucker up at all. He grabbed a picture of this woman. Let's see. I want to make sure that is there an article where they double up German is Yahoo News? Where'd he get this? Reuters. Yeah, so here's where he borrowed it from. He borrowed the picture from Reuters. Same Kate Duffy article. He picked this one. Roderick Keisletter was the first person to do it, though. But he went and posted that idea. But Jimmy liked this one better. Just saying. Just interesting.
This is my favorite. Kremlin dismisses stupid claims that Russia attacked Nord Stream. It is.
Yeah, well, I feel pwned. Do you guys feel pwned? Russia called something stupid that's obviously true.
This is stupid. Why would they attack their own goddamn pipeline?
Because it's a defunct pipeline. It's not going to work anymore. Germany's not going to use it anymore. And then they've got to vent gas some fucking place. So they can use it strategically and they can use it materially.
They could just turn off the spigot.
No, they can't. It won't remove the gas that's in the pipeline itself. They've already throttled the other one. And I love this spigot like it's a fucking garden hose.
There's Poland's former foreign minister, a sitting member of the European Parliament, is praising what he...
Yeah, so people are taking this guy's deleted tweet and using that as an example of him really thinking that way.
He suggests is a United States attack on part German-owned civilian infrastructure, which could condemn millions of poverty in a frigid winter.
No. Because no gas is going to Germany through Nord Stream 2. They don't have the attachment on this end to get it out. It's not built that far. They shut it the fuck down. Spigot, motherfucker.
Speechless.
Oh, good. Stay that way, dude.
Stay that way. That guy's on your side, dipshit. Kurt doesn't even know who he's rooting for in this. Which I guess is the normal, yeah.
Well, stick with that. Being speechless.
Stupid. He agrees with you. He's that, whoever the fuck is posting that, rando Twitter dude, is agreeing with Jimmy. Kurt, you stupid. Listen to him. And Jimmy doesn't know how to react to him because he just basically tried to dunk on the guy Jimmy was quoting verbatim.
So, again, this is how this works. And now, it doesn't matter if they're... So let me bring in Jackson. Jackson, and now it doesn't matter.
Yes, Jackson is the LaRouchian he's been bringing on. If
there's a peace treaty, because they can't send the gas anyway. They blew up the pipelines.
Yeah, by the way, those of you that were watching yesterday, Philip Ittner was on, and he was talking to one of his guys in Ukraine, and there was some thinking that there are doves and hawks in Russia right now, and the doves were thinking they could offer turning Nord Stream back on and kind of, moving out of the held areas, maybe keeping part of Luhansk and Donetsk, maybe negotiating over Crimea and use of it and that kind of shit. And if we turn the gas, maybe the rest of the world will be nice to us. And that the Hawks blew it up because they didn't want that as an option.
So now it doesn't. So now the United States is like, hey, peace might break out. People are starting to catch on to this. Even Chris Hayes tweeted out that we should stop sending weapons to Ukraine. So people are starting to catch on. And so what did they do? They blew up the fucking pipeline.
No, they did not.
The United States did this. Go ahead.
No, they did not.
Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson, say what I was saying, and then say it in a way that Kurt misunderstands that you're saying what I said and tells you to shut the fuck up.
10 days before they blew up these pipelines, Putin went to European officials and told them, and it was during a time in which
he went to European officials.
Meeting with also Turkish and Saudi officials. And
European officials. You mean because Erdogan was there?
They were discussing potentially negotiating a peace deal with Ukraine again. This was
no, they weren't.
About, a week and a half ago. And
no, they weren't.
He told.
Oh, it's happening again.
Oh, no. Yeah. I think it's probably Elon Musk. I mean, he's using Starlink to help the Ukrainians, so he's probably interfering with your broadcast, Jimmy.
The Nord Stream 2 back operating.
It was never operating.
Is press the button and essentially removing the sanctions. Remove the sanctions, stop the proxy war, and Nord Stream 2 will be operating again. There's no reason whatsoever.
Oh, this is not going to work today.
No, it's not. It isn't. And you know what? He's saying the dumb talking points you're saying. You're saying the dumb talking points he's saying. And Kurt's not going to understand either of you. So, I mean, it's best just... You do it, Jimmy. You can do it. We believe you don't have to bring in anybody else. You can say it. Say your piece. Explain it.
Massive piece of leverage on Europe, that being gas flow into Europe through the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines, would destroy the infrastructure that could potentially be used to leverage that gas flow in the future. It makes no sense whatsoever. And there's a ton of information that suggests that the U.S., of course, is responsible for it.
Yes, there's a ton of information, like you saying it, me saying it, and Caitlin Johnstone saying it, and rando fucking Twitter dudes who agree, the dorks out there saying it. That's tons of information
for it. I'm sure you have some of those details, but I mean, it's crazy.
I'm sure you have some of those details. No, he doesn't. Don't, you can't do that to Jimmy. You can't go, I'm sure you have some of those details. Yeah, Kurt's in charge of them.
Crazy. And if anyone doesn't understand why the United States would do this, I suggest you reflect in history back to 1519 when Cortez landed.
Yes. Yeah. Biden was alive then, so he remembers how they pulled this off. 1519. The fuck are you talking about? Remember when Cortez attacked the pipeline?
In the New World. And when arriving...
Oh, I wish I had a time machine and I could go back and upgrade his internet.
On arrival, he burned up all their ships. He burned up their ships because he wanted to send a message that there's no turning back. And that's the message that the United States just sent to Europe. There's no turning back. You have to commit 100% to this proxy war and all the anti-Russia policies that we're putting forward.
Anti-Russia. That's what it is. We're not anti-invading force. We're anti-Russia. It's the language. It looks weird when it's written. It sounds like English backwards, which my Southern Christian upbringing told me that if you speak backwards, that's Satanism. I mean, the whole country speaks in backwards masking, like a heavy metal album that hooray Satan, hooray Satan, right? We're so anti-Russia. We didn't give a fuck about Russia. Nobody cared. No one cares. No one gave a shit about Russia. The only problem you have with them is when they are violent. None of us are like, wow, this is... If only we could get in there in Moscow and really put up some really sweet buildings. That's some prime real estate. I'd like to hang out with those folks. Get the fuck out of here.
That is exactly what this is.
Totally. It is. It so is. You're so right, and I'm so right. We're both so right. We're... Sorry. Jimmy it's like they're passing off their insecurity to each other. So the minute Jimmy's like, I know what's going on, his face goes, I don't know what's going on.
But maybe you haven't considered this.
Oh boy. Kurt's piping in. This is going to get good. Just when you thought this school bus was hitting the guardrails and teetering over the edge of the cliff, here comes Kurt running to the front to grab hold of the wheel.
Putin is a madman.
You want to hear this?
Putin is a madman. That was his addition.
This is back in 2014. This is Condoleezza
Yeah, back when Yanukovych ran things, the Russian sock puppet.
Rice in 2014. You ready for this?
Oh, I'm ready for it.
Do you think Germany's been as aggressive as they should be?
I'm quite an admirer of Chancellor Merkel, and I heard her statement when she was with President Obama in Washington. I thought it was a very good statement. But now we need to have tougher sanctions, and I'm afraid at some point this is going to probably have to involve oil and gas. The Russian economy is vulnerable. 80% of Russian exports are in oil, gas, and minerals. People say, well, the Europeans will run out of energy. Well, the Russians will run out of cash before the Europeans run out of energy. And I understand that
Look at this pipe up like, no, they didn't. I don't know if she knows this, but Russia's they're doing great. They've got Stars Coffee now where Starbucks used to be. There's McDonald's is now called, if you translate it from Russian, Tasty, period. I'm sorry. I'm not eating at a restaurant called Tasty, period. It's very weird. And I'm not even squeamish. But Tasty, period is a really fucking dumb name for a fast food place. Especially when you're just faking McDonald's. But hang on a second. This is a Russian economist. This statement came out from this guy. The Russian economy will die by winter because of the catastrophic consequences of the military mobilization. A top Russian economist. It's not somebody. No, it's not a Deutsche Bank guy who works for the EU. He's a bastard people with their bastard faces. In the 7 months, I can't they don't have the whole thing. God damn it! You got to get I'm not getting a subscription to every goddamn paper that comes up. In the 7 months since Russia invaded Ukraine, some have argued the international sanctions levied against Russia weren't strong enough as Russians continued to travel, shop, party, and generally led a normal life. And then hold on one second. Until that dude was like, look at the dude's face. Hold on. Look at this guy's face. He's like, I was just working at Tasty, period. And this guy came up to me and he said, just get on the fucking bus. And I was like, I got a shift tomorrow. He's like, look, Tasty, period doesn't need you. The motherland, the fatherland needs you. And he's like, get on the Tasty bus, you asshole. And I was like, can I at least use a sledgehammer to break my arm? Get in the fucking bus. I think, who probably has it up? Yeah, same article in dozens of places. In the 7 months since Russia invaded Ukraine, some have argued that the international sanctions levied against Russia weren't strong enough as Russians continue to travel, shop, party, and generally lead a normal life. Now, an action by Russian President Vladimir Putin could be the catalyst that brings the war home to Russians and plunges the economy into a real collapse. Last week, Putin announced a partial mobilization, Russia's first mobilization decree since World War II, ordering 300,000 able-bodied men and a couple 100,000 not so able-bodied, it turns out, between 18 and 30. Really? Really? 18 and 30. Hold on. 18 and 30. There'll be this here. There's gonna be a picture for what they're doing. Here we go. There's gonna be. Here you go. Hold on. Get up here, you bastard. There you go. Russia drafted an old man with diabetes, a 17-year-old, and people with no training to fight in Ukraine, reports say, a sign of desperation. I wonder if they have the pictures of the dudes. 26-year-old PhD student and lecturer at a prominent Russian university told BBC this week that two men turned up, no thanks, at his house to draft him despite his student status. Student identified as Sergei told the BBC he was confused by the call because he has no military experience. A 63-year-old man from Volgograd region was also drafted as part of the mobilization. The independent Russian news site The Insider reported the outlet has no relation to the Insider. It's another insider inside somebody else, inside another her, not her, but the other her. The man, identified as Yermolev, has second-degree diabetes and a brain condition known as cerebral ischemia. He had previously served in the army, and he's retired. On Thursday, he was still summoned to a medical examination center where he was told by the doctors that he was fit to go to the front. Look at Jimmy's fucking stupid face.
It's uncomfortable to have an effect on business ties in this way. But this is one of...
I love he's like, yeah, they're talking about Russia's basically a gas station with nukes, and she's talking about gas. And you know, and that's the big thinkers are coming out.
The few instruments that we have over the long run, you simply want to change the structure of energy dependence. You want to depend more on the North American energy platform, the tremendous bounty of oil and gas that we're finding in North America. You want to have pipelines that don't go through Ukraine and Russia. For years, we've tried to get the Europeans to be interested in different pipeline routes. It's time to do that.
She means Kazakhstan, by the way.
And so some of this is simply acting and acting.
That was nice of Putin to help out by bombing his own pipes.
Biden didn't deliver a $15 minimum wage, but he did blow up a pipeline that provides Europe with natural gas.
From an account called Defund Ukraine. From Dr. Fishbones on Twitter. Good old Dr. Fishbones. Let's see what... hold on. These are... I'm curious, interestingly enough, Jimmy chooses some of these like regular accounts all the time. Fishbonesblog.com. Let's go. Republicans believe government is useless and Democrats prove it. When the people lead, the leaders follow. Force the vote. He was one of the force the vote people. Let's see. Open link in new tab with the fifth. Democratic leaders praise Beto O'Rourke and humiliating loss. Yeah, so here's the kind of stuff that Dr. Fishbones posts. Democratic leaders praise Beto O'Rourke's humiliating loss in Texas governor's race. From JFK to Deval Patrick, the catastrophic drop-off in quality in presidential candidates from Massachusetts. All right. Yeah, making fun of Elizabeth Warren. I don't know why sliming Deval Patrick, whatever. Would you two please stop? Like anti-U2 stuff, which is about time, isn't it? An entire article slamming Ariana Huffington's success. You know, because when women start papers, I mean, especially if you can't agree with them 100% of the time. Do we freeze? We froze? What happened? Uh-oh, am I getting attacked? Did I get attacked too? Is everybody getting attacked? What's happening? We're all right? I moved it over. I'm fine. All right. I'm fine. Okay, good. Thanks.
Does this sound like, you know, in Caddyshack when Judge Smale's like, you know, I've sent boys your age to the gas chamber. Didn't want to do it. Felt I owed it to them. I hear that over and over. Oh, I hear that over and over again in every single one of these things is that phrase, you know, Madeleine Albright, was it worth it to kill all those kids? Didn't want to do it, felt we owed it to them.
Yeah.
They're all Judge Smales.
Whoever they are in this particular situation. By the way, we're talking about an explosion on a gas pipeline.
Breaking. Germany says attack on Nord Stream pipeline has triggered NATO Article 5, but it's complicated since it was by the United States.
Yeah, this is Reuters pitchbot satire. Yeah, it's like, again, this is the Jimmy Dore show, and he's a comedian. So he farms jokes from other fucking people. I was just talking last night with Ginger and a couple of the lovely folks at the show last night about how a guy who was there was like asking me how many voices I do because he just like threw a thing at me and wanted me to do Schwarzenegger or something. So I just did some random as hell. But since I was improvising, I was like, okay, yeah. And he asked me how many I do. And I was like, a lot. And I went, but I have rules about it because like one of my pet peeves when I was coming up as a comic was guys who would do Pee Wee Herman. Did you ever see a stand-up comedian from the late 80s, especially doing Pee Wee Herman on stage? And I'm like, motherfucker, Paul Rubens doesn't sound like that. He created that character. You're just stealing. That's theft. He made that character. There's not a real Pee Wee Herman out there, dumb fuck. And just because you can do that guy's character doesn't mean you get to points for being fucking funny. It was like it just aggravated. It was one of those like have your cake and eat it too. Like make fun of Pee Wee Herman while doing Pee Wee Herman and stealing the response gag, which is how he performs. It just drives me fucking crazy when people do that shit. And say what you will about like Gilbert Gottfried, but he was mocking Jerry Seinfeld when he would do them, and he was mocking Andrew Dice Clay. He would do them really well, but he was making fun of them specifically. All right. Anyways, so same shit here. Jimmy's just farming jokes off fucking Twitter.
Now, this is not really from Reuters, but this is a joke, but that's a good joke. 52,000 likes.
And that's how you know a good joke.
So I'm going to guess NATO Article 5 is the one that says if somebody attacks a NATO state that you're attacking all of us.
Yes, that's what that means.
And
that joke did not trigger that for real.
We all have to go to war now with that. I think, is that what Article 5 is, Jackson?
Oh my God, you have to ask? We just went through the whole point about Trump not living up to Article 5 and going, no, I wouldn't come to your defense and all that shit. Like, you don't know that stuff off the top of your fucking dome? What else does this asshole do for a living? My flight is at midnight tonight, and I will land at 5 o'clock in the morning in Dallas, Texas. I will go straight to a radio station and promote the Nerd Halen gig tomorrow night. And then I will go to the gym and then have some breakfast, meet the guys, get their shit, take them to sound check, have an insanely long day, do a show, and then we're driving to fucking driving to Austin, rather, after the show. And then I've got radio in the morning, and then I've got a Nerd Halen show. We're doing a wedding on Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we've got another one in Austin, and then we fly back on Monday. And I can remember what the fuck Article 5 is about. Jesus Christ. Do you need some more crayons?
You kind of broke up there for me, but
yeah, just nod.
Article 5, this would essentially be the United States triggering our.
Oh my God. It's worth it just to watch this clip, just to watch him kind of grind on about this shit.
We can't do this today.
It's just like, this is why Jimmy ended up on TYT, because he and Cenk have the like zero patience for life gene. Both of them are just entitled pricks. We can't have this today. Not today. Not.
Okay, so we're fucked today with our internet, man. It keeps freezing on us left and right. So,
he was actually and the timing on this is perfect because he freed up. You could see him moving in that moment.
Article 5, Jackson. It's that's the art.
Jesus Christ! It's from a joke. Nobody cares. It's not true.
That means like if you attack one NATO country, that it's like you're attacking all the NATO countries, right? That's what Article 5 is. And if someone attacks a NATO country, now they all have to go to war with that.
Yes, that's the essence of the fucking joke. Yes, someone please get Jimmy a walker so that they can walk him through this fucking joke. Get him a fresh set of tennis balls on this motherfucker so that we can belabor this single tweet. And God damn it. It's like, does he need a rubber mallet?
Country, is that what Article 5 is?
Fuck, man. Are you filling in?
Yeah, you broke up, but I think that was the gist.
Look how he's doing it. I didn't realize Jimmy did the Roger Stone coat jaw thing when he got mad?
It's Article 5.
Is it? Hold on. Kurt jumped in. I missed that.
Country, is that what Article 5 is?
Yeah, you broke up, but I think that was the gist.
What's Article 5?
The United Nations Security Council.
Yeah, we can read that. Fucking still gotta hide this asshole.
So it's going to convene at the request of the Russia to discuss damage
at the request of the Russia
to 2 Russian gas pipelines to Europe that has caused gas. So they're going to have a National Security Council meeting over this. Again, the United States, we are the gangster. We're the
we didn't do this. Again, apropos of fucking nothing. He's just assigning blame right now. You are watching confirmation bias hatch out of an egg like a scene in the beginning of Jurassic Park.
Terrorists. We're the world's terrorists. We're the world's gangster. Putin can't hold a fucking candle to the United States. Gangsterism.
Oh my God, I just realized. Maybe.
Oh boy. Does the miserable liberal have like a little sign she holds up when Papa gets a little too repetitive and makes Kurt jump in, or does he just have terrible timing too?
Jimmy Dore is attacking the Dore stream pipeline himself.
Hey, Russian spy whales shine spotlight on military-grade animals. Look, Russian spy, that's what the Russians...
Yeah, how do you know one of their Russian spy whales didn't do it?
That's right, maybe a Russian spy whale
That's how
did
evil
it.
they are.
So this is way more horrible than I think people in the United States realize.
Yeah, it's way more horrible. I mean, the gas will vent out of the pipe in a matter of a couple of days, and that'll be that. It won't even be the biggest natural gas pipeline leak in the last decade.
That's what this means.
We want it to mean that. It's like, can you imagine being in charge of promoting the Reichstag fire and everybody just brings buckets of water and goes, I gotta go to work after this. We'll all just put it out. It's like, no, you don't understand. Reichstag, the Reichstag is on fire. They did this. I don't think so. I mean, and we should just put the fire out. Don't just put the fire out. It's a thing. We should attack them. I gotta go. No, I got dinner and tickets to a movie.
So stupid that
he's literally, they're trying to gin up this into something like, it's like they all got the memo or the telegram message to like push this, and nobody's buying it. Nobody gives a fuck.
I see the trick.
It's a dead pipeline.
Like I would have to reread it because I would.
Yeah, I don't doubt Kurt has to reread a lot of things. And it's just as futile the 5th time.
I'd be like, oh, that's not what that said. And I just move on with my, because it's that blatant and stupid.
What is?
That
we don't know either.
Russia did that to their own pipeline that they could turn off. So it's almost like kind of perfect in a way. Because you read it like, your brain's like that. I was like shocked at the beginning when you said it.
Yes, we saw.
This.
Yes, Sitch, go ahead.
Screws Europe.
This screws Europe.
This winter.
Because Nord Stream 2, Nord Stream 1, which was down to 20%, and Nord Stream 2, which was never open and doesn't have a spigot on the European end, is not going to function.
Fucking hard. And they're just doing it. But go ahead.
It does screw them, but also it just so happened to magically take place on the same day that the Baltic pipeline, which runs through, I think it's like Norway, Denmark, Poland, was set up and established and finalized. So very interesting timing there.
You can't bring that up, dipshit, because it throws a fucking monkey wrench in this whole thing. This happened right next to the Baltic, like the Baltic territory, the Baltic Sea, the Danish territory in the Baltic Sea. So he can't. He's been telling you for the last fucking 11 minutes and 53 seconds that America did this, and now so that we can sell them LNG, and then motherfucker, there's another pipeline there.
And
don't get like that. Blah, blah, blah. You're screwing up the. You can't have. Oh God.
the U.S. knows exactly what they're doing, and
Yes, we're apparently helping the Danes gas market.
you know what the U.S. is doing. They led a U.S. Navy ship detachment of assault ships into this Baltic Sea region, just 30 miles away from the Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipeline explosions, just a few days.
Okay, I can't take this anymore.
Navy fleet that was
He's reading this off of a piece of paper, off of his talking points.
on board, which focuses on warfare, Central Pacific naval undersea warfare operations.
They all focus on that.
So this group was on board the assault ship, and they were
This specific group. They were all there to watch the depth charge blow it up.
they were soaring very close to these two pipelines.
Yeah, and there were Russian ships very close to them as well. And
I think we know exactly what happened.
yeah, we totally do, bro. We don't even need to look. Stop. Don't even read. From this point forward, don't read anything but Caitlin Johnstone's fucking tweets.
It's as clear as day.
Jimmy just checked the app to make sure that the internet bill was paid. That's what he did. He's like, what the fuck is with it today? Whatever. Is there an outage? Did we not pay the bill? Oh, God damn it. I had it on auto pay and that card never works.
Oh, and the last thing I'll say is, yeah, it's not just going to screw them for this winter. They're now, German authorities, German intelligence is saying that these pipelines are potentially irreparable.
Irreparable.
Yes. That they're like, well, here's an article by Al Jazeera. Depending on the scale of the damage, the leaks could even mean a permanent closure of both lines, Nord Stream 1 and 2.
Well, I got to give, I suppose it was the United States with James Bond credit. When we do it, it stays done. This couldn't have been Russians doing. It actually worked.
Yeah.
So I said at the beginning of this, it might sound crazy, but it looks like the United States and NATO are doing this because they want to sell more energy to Europe, and Russia is currently now providing 40% of Europeans' energy, and the United States
not anymore.
Gas companies, they want part of that, and that's exactly what this is. That's exactly what's happening, isn't that?
They had that. Russia was using American companies, Exxon, and all these other companies were in charge of these fucking things. Ugh.
What's happening, Jackson?
That and it's
that and it. See, I can't do Bobcat now after that lecture I did, but I don't do it on stage. I just do it interpersonally, and we're friends. We're hanging out.
to negotiate.
He's just, God damn it. This is too much. These fucking people. Now, you guys have seen my show, Cadaver, technologically so many fucking times. So many issues with guests and without guests. Have you ever seen me mad like this? Have you ever? And this dude makes fucking bank. He's a multimillionaire now because of this stream. Because of his show. Why is Jimmy worried about the pipeline? Captain Cheeto is a great question. Jimmy's worried about the pipeline explosion because people don't give a fuck about the pipeline explosion. And it's supposed to be something that he can, that will set off some big thing. And it's not going to.
Negotiate with Russia.
Say it again.
It's going to do exactly what you just said and also stop any efforts that may have been underway.
None were.
That the Saudis and the Turks were talking about.
None were.
Insofar as the Europeans negotiating an end to this war in Ukraine with Russia.
Oh, good. We can't send Boris again, so we gotta. Do they send Boris in scuba gear to the bottom?
Yeah, Kurt, wrong guy. Boris is actually on the side that Jimmy's on in this. Fuck me. Like, I don't smoke weed. Do different strains make you different kinds of dumb? Are there certain ones where like, well, that one really tightens my thought process up and it works like an ADD drug, and other ones are like, I can only see Fruit Loops. Everyone's face looks like they're made out of Fruit Loops. I don't even know how to live like this. Is that what happens? Is that what's happening to fucking Kurt right now? Because you could get a contact buzz off this fucking show right now.
I initially thought maybe he was on his post, PM vacation and he did a belly flop from the 5th floor of his yacht. That's what exploded it. I was wrong.
Virginia Beach.
By the way, that's, I think, a reference to the multitude of dead Russians who've been murdered or have done themselves in. Random as shit.